You know how you know this is bullshit? Because it was exposed that David fucking PAC-Man is part of this program. Do you think David PAC-Man, with his 2 million subscribers, do you think he
Oh yeah.
needs help on
He needs a
building an
handout.
audience?
Yeah, sure. Right. It's like, oh, I'm just a struggling creator with 2 million followers. Please, help me out here. Come on. Yeah. And he has sponsors too. Somebody was posting like the list of sponsors that he has, like like the ad reads that they do. He has like 30 sponsors. He's doing okay for, he's not a small independent creator.
The meltdown on liberal Twitter after this story. They're in full-blown shambles mode trying to defend their web of dark money corruption. And there's so many people like myself that is vindicated because I've seen so many of these Democratic Party influencers. And the thought that everybody had is that there's no way these people are not paid. And they was paid. There are a lot of people who misrepresent the story, as I mentioned there. They was paid to promote neoliberal pro-genocide propaganda. It's more than just promoting a party. This is class war. This is typical class war. The capitalist class paying to control the flow of information, turning young people and forcing them to support or persuading them to support a genocidal capitalist agenda. Let me see if I can take this damn ad off. Here it is. Here's the article version of it. Dark money group paying pro-dem influencers $8,000 per month. Fam, this is not $8,000 per month. That'll be around $100,000 per person, damn near. They're not doing that to feed the homeless, to build a movement that inspires working class people. No, they were doing it to fund people like David PAC-Man. So David PAC-Man can have an incentive to go after and smear third parties. And as I mentioned before, has this been successful? What did I tell you guys? I told you guys the Democratic Party is essentially a glorified jobs program for rich kids. You want to tell me they really paid this person $8,000 per month to win over young people? And they were posting the most cringe, brain dead content. A lot of it punching left. But it's like, do you guys really believe this was going to work? You have this person who, oddly enough, she used to, and this is how you know it's nefarious, because she used to follow me. You know what? That's very strange. I remember it as clear as day because she used to pretend to be one of those Bernie-style Democrats. She used to pretend to be a progressive, and then you can tell the second that the money hit the bank account. I'm not ever saying she was never ever good, but I remember there was a time when she followed me, and I'm like, dude, why the fuck? I was like, why the fuck is some Democrat influencer fuck following me? And she'll post some rap lib shit. We need a Democratic Party to give us Medicare for all. She went from that to promoting neoliberalism, supporting Jim Crow Joe, and establishment Democrats in a blink of an eye, to the point where there was people calling her out way before the scandal. There was ordinary Democrats that was like, man, I thought you were supposed to be a progressive, and now you shilling for Jim Crow Joe. To let you guys know how far gone this person was and what the Democrats was paying people for. When people was asking Joe Biden to drop out, she was one of the many accounts saying the Democrats should never portray Joe Biden. She was a Biden dead ender. That's what the Democratic Party was paying for. And this is what they was paying for. They was paying for this person to make these cringe ass edits. Look, the girlies are making edits of Gavin Newsom to Lana Del Rey music on TikTok. It's over. He is now the king of America. And you guys are wondering why you lost young men and you're losing the working class. Lana Del Rey? You guys see who she is paid to promote and uplift? The people like Gavin Newsom, the neoliberal Democrats. So a lot of people were just reporting the story as, oh, yeah, you have a Republican dark web apparatus, which is true. But they are pretending this is just innocent job development for young liberal content creators. No, this is them taking payment from our class enemy, a dark web of capitalists, in order to spread a very particular agenda. This highlights the depravity of the average Democrat, of the neoliberal Gen Z influencer. The entire two-party duopoly is fake. This is why I don't trust anybody in this day and age who is advocating for the two-party duopoly. After seeing the betrayal of Barack Obama that shifted my entire generation to the left, and then you see MAGA being betrayed by Donald Trump, then you saw progressives bet on Jim Crow Joe, and then he's facilitated a genocide. I don't trust anyone who supports two-party duopoly. And think about how many people have been exposed as flipping like yesterday. Like people on the Vanguard who used to come on RBN and they used to say stuff like, we want a third-party movement. And then the check hits. And then out of nowhere, they become Democrats. Like, oh, we got to vote for Jim Crow Joe. Don't listen to RBN. They're part of the Red-Brown Alliance who want the Republican Party to win. Then they repeat the same script. RBN, we are grifters. We're grifters because we advocate for a people worker-led movement outside of duopoly, because obviously that's where the big money is at. Obviously that's where the fucking checks are being cashed. So whenever you see these duopolists, and now they all do it, they all pretend that the people outside of the duopoly, as if we got something to grift over, as if we got a giant wave of capitalists willing to support an uprising anti-capitalist third-party movement. Every single person who calls themselves a socialist and then try to rationalize to you why they support a neoliberal pro-war party, they are the biggest grifters in politics. Do you guys understand? Because this person who used to follow me, this person who used to pretend to be on the left, she switched to a neoliberal overnight. Like, this is the kind of stuff that they paid her to type. And this is the class war element that you only get on RBN, because the few people who are covering this story, they covering it on a surface level. They're like, hey, look, Democrat influencers being paid. This is crazy. Okay, all parties do this. Like, if you are a Republican, this shouldn't be a big deal. If you are a Democrat, this shouldn't be a big deal. This is a big deal to us because we are seeing the ideology that the Democratic Party is paying $8,000 per person per month for. Look, if you think I'm a Republican because I said communism is bad, once again, you guys know I have friends who are not communists. That's not where I draw the red line. I said 1,000 times before, I draw the red line on anti-communism. But you guys see how she's paid by the neoliberal class to drag young people back to the right? You think I'm a Republican because I said communism is bad? No, you're a paid shill. And the question is, why she had to lie about it? Every single one of these neoliberals lied about, like David PAC-Man, who they claimed there was independent. Meanwhile, they were being funneled by genocidal Democrats in order to spread neoliberal propaganda. So she said, the fact that some of you think that a young person can have only the political leanings of Bernie Sanders, so she's justifying her neoliberal ideology that she was paid to repeat. And she's gaslighting the working class and young people while she is doing it. Do you guys understand how psychopathic the Democratic Party is? This is why I don't view them as a lesser evil to Republicans. This is a level of gaslighting that the Republican Party couldn't dream of accomplishing. tricking a ton of misinformed young people. I wasn't always super sharp. I fell for a lot of dumb shit when I was younger. That's why we should have maximum disdain for these people who are engaging in these psyops on the side of the capitalist class to trick these young, dumb people like me. Like, I remember a time I used to like Stephen Colbert. I used to think his show was funny. Remember the Colbert show? I remember I used to like Jon Stewart. I used to think Bill Maher was kind of witty back in the day. These are L's and parts of my development that I overcame. And these people are obstacle to people when they're overcoming this brainwashing that we all go through. I have my brother Jose Vega here. I'm gonna bring you in here in a second, bro. We're gonna roast the shit out of Richie Torres. I'm also interested in your take on this story. Because you guys know Jose Vega, the homie. Like, I invite him on all the time on RBN. I invite him on even before the Richie Torres video dropped because he's good to get his analysis. So he just so happens to be running for Congress as well. And we had RBN support him. So I'm going to bring you in just 1 second, Jose. Let me finish this quick presentation. So this is her lying. If you're so confident about what you're doing, why are you lying about it? I haven't been paid a dime to do anything in Texas, by the way. Yes, you have. You want to know what's, and this is go back to my point, this is extremely nefarious about what the Democratic Party is doing. You see, they're not just paying these people to promote the Democratic Party. They're paying them to promote neoliberalism in a time where a record amount of young people are gravitating towards socialism. Do you guys know a majority of young Black people under the age of 30 has a net positive view of socialism while having a net negative view of capitalism? One of those stats you will never hear in mainstream media. Why they'll pretend the rise of the left is just suburban white people? No, the socialist movement, the vanguard, is being led by young Black America. And during this time, you want to know what the class warring Democrats do? They pay young Latinas to promote neoliberalism. Look, I want to be extremely clear here. I am a liberal. Let me big straighten this. I gotta make this bigger. You guys gotta see this. This is what they pay for. I want to be extremely clear. I am a liberal. I am a center-left, New Dem caucus, neoliberal Democrat. The second you ever hear anyone call themselves a neoliberal, that should have been the number one sign that this person was on the payroll. And I want to get your thoughts, Jose. So I'm going to share this last receipt, and I'll bring you in as I finish the story. But I want to show you guys this because David PAC-Man, I don't have time to roast everyone on the list. It would take forever. So I'm going to go to the ones that I know of. The only reason I'm picking on Olivia Juliana, I know her only because she used to follow me. And I always had tabs on her ever since then. And I was like, damn, she turned into a crazy neoliberal. I think she was just keeping tabs on us. You know what I mean? That's why I know who she is. So I'm going to go to David PAC-Man because there are like, 15 or so people listed there? You guys should read the full article. But I'm only going to cover the people I know of. And David PAC-Man is one of them. I know this is obvious, but this is what the Democratic Party paid this person who called himself an independent content creator to tell his audience.
If President Biden has Parkinson's, so what? It makes no difference to me. It would do nothing to dissuade me from voting for him.
Of course it wouldn't, sir. It's almost like you're paid to say that. All right, so I don't want to keep my guests waiting too long, so I want to bring Jose in during this segment. I think you got a lot to say. We have amazing activists. I think Jose Vega and his organization, they're the one who popularized the trend of activists calling out pro-war Democrats. And I'm talking about even before October 7th, because I remember you did it during the Ukraine war, like even before the genocide. So this is how you got a lot of street cred. Yeah, even before October 7th, Jose Vega started this trend of people calling out Democrats and getting arrested and dragged out because he used to call them out for their support of Ukraine. And it was easy to transfer over that topic to calling out Democrats on genocide. So you always had a lot of respect for RBN because that's That's revolutionary practice, man. So thank you for joining us on the RBN, Jose Vega.
Yeah, no, thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm glad to be supported by RBN. You guys were some of the first people to bring me on when I started doing the interventions, and so deeply appreciative to be on here and covering this segment with you. I mean, just already PAC-Man saying who cares if Biden has Parkinson's? It's like, oh yeah, sure. You weren't paid to support the DNC, of course, right? So yeah, I'm here
Yeah.
though. I'm here for it all.
So this is what I share on my hotspot. And isn't it funny? All these people who are paid. We did the roast of Hassan Piker the other day. We have this is technically the roast of David PAC-Man. We have the roast of Richie Torres coming up as our official segment. But this is what they pay for. They're paying him to smear anyone who is on the left outside of the Democratic Party. Just like you saw with Crystal Ball, who told people they need to grow up.
Yeah.
If they were supporting third parties. It was a coordinated psyop to sheepdog people back in the Democratic Party. But let me play this because this is another reason why they pay that money. Let me turn this up a bit.
Now, I don't think it will come as a surprise to my audience that I have not seen Jill Stein as a serious person for a very long time. In fact, Jill Stein may be specifically to blame or credit for numerous Republican wins. I'll give you.
So when you guys see this stuff, do you think this guy has a single independent thought?
No, of course not. Of course not. Because, and I remember that time that was coordinated with the DNC. They were doing a big effort to discredit any third party, especially Jill Stein. I think they put out the first attack ad against her in Michigan. And that was like, wow, they're actually afraid of third parties. So, yeah, and they also know that the blogosphere, like the independent media, or I guess I don't know if you consider David PAC-Man independent. Well, not really, because he's being paid to promote this stuff. But the alternate, mainstream leftist media, they do coordinate. They just have to. They just have to. Like this guy Sam Cedar on the Majority Report. I hate these guys so much. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. There's gonna be a lot of people watching this who are like just finding me out for the first time, and they're like hoping that I'm gonna be like their young rising progressive star. It's not me. That is not me. Okay, I am not trying to get good in with the Sam Cedars or the Emma Viglins, who are just trying to, to earn a buck off of the DNC. I don't, like for example, like now I'm supposed to believe that people want to be serious about criticizing AOC. Oh yeah, sure. We were doing that for years now. Years, it's like, oh, now you want to do it? No. See, I don't believe it. And that's the thing too about this whole thing, is that these people are so deranged, because if you honestly believed that there was a genocide happening, and you actually had the ear of these people, right? Like because they, like, if you're being used to coordinate how people think, that means that on some level that the people who are carrying out the genocide know you have influence. So you should use that influence to tell people, I'm not endorsing this candidate until they do an arms embargo and stop the genocide. And instead, what? They just rubber stamp this as a whole. And they don't, and not only that, they try to gaslight you into saying, who cares if the president has Parkinson's? So what? He might shake a little bit here and there. Does his mind still work? Maybe. So yeah, better than Trump, right? Because Trump is bad and evil and fascist. Like as if the last 4 years weren't bad too. I mean, everything that was happening on the campuses and the genocide, what is worse than that?
You hit the nail on the head, because that's the reason I'm covering the story. And a lot of people are covering the story as just a ha, we got you, you're a grifter, almost as if this is a drama story. Guys, it's much more than that. Because even before we got into it, you want to know who David PAC-Man was paying? Oh my
God.
Yep. I told you, we're starting with the roast of David PAC-Man first. We're going to get to the roast of Richie Torres. They all get it today, bro. Everyone is being exposed. We told you guys this is the year where these motherfuckers are going to be exposed. So we got the roast of Richie Torres coming up. But he was paid to rehabilitate Richie Torres as a progressive candidate. Big shout out to my followers, my mutual base. Big shout out to Sam, because people saw I was covering this, and people were sending me a lot of receipts, as they always do. And this is one I found was great. Thank you for sending me this one, Sam. Like, he was rehabilitating Richie Torres, and what they was doing, they was punching left. during the show. They were saying stuff like the Jimmy Dore left. Obviously, they would never say my name. They would never give me that kind of clout. But they was definitely talking about us. They would say you're these outsiders who engage in purity tests, who don't understand the issue of Gaza. He was running cover. People have no idea the level of depravity of this motherfucker.
And,
this is why I'm spending time on him. Go ahead, Jose.
It's the social programming aspect of it too. Like, for example, I'm supposed to like this guy Mike Platner, who's running in Maine against Susan Collins, right? It's like, wait a minute, whoa, I didn't even hear about this guy. Suddenly he's all over my X algorithm. And there are like 9 different mainstream media articles about covering him. Oh, this is a serious Dem challenger, part of the Dem Tea Party movement. All of these people are connected in one way or another to the Dem establishment. Like, they try to make Kat Abu Ghazaleh out in Illinois to be this like progressive star, but it's like, why does she get CNN spotlights, right? Even Michael Blake, this guy that they might run in the primary against Richie Torres, why does he get CNN spotlight, right? Why do these people get the coverage they get? Because they're okay with them. Like, for example, if Michael Blake runs in the primary, they'll be okay with him replacing Richie Torres because overall, they know that there's a fervent happening in the country. They know that there are people who are pissed off. So they have to say, okay, well, we need to put people who can masquerade as progressive, who can masquerade as being upset with the Democrats so that we can still control that field. That is the level of psyop happening right now, and people need to wake up from it.
Very well said. People have no idea how fucking fake our politics is. It's all scripted. It's essentially WWE. And we talk about this with Shama Sawant, someone else who I endorsed. We are being enthusiastically endorsed.
She's great. Yeah.
And Rome yesterday on RBN panel say he supports Jose. And what does it say when you got Rome of all people saying it's important? Because this is what we have to overcome, the gatekeepers. We just talked about this with Shama Swan, and I've been through it over my entire time, my 6 years of doing this as an organizer, as a citizen journalist. You feel this massive gate, and it's upheld by the bourgeoisie left establishment who wants a suitable CIA left. We talk about this all the time. And they gatekeep people like Shama Sawant and Jose Vega. She's running against a psychopath, Adam Smith, who called for the arrest of people who was protesting Israel. So do you understand how depraved the progressive apparatus is, that they won't support Shama? You guys know the DSA left. They refuse to endorse Shama over a Zionist because of factionalism, because Shama Sawant refuses to run as a Democrat, because you refuse to rehabilitate the Democratic Party. So you guys see these gatekeepers, they care about maintaining this social status more than they do delivering victories for the working class.
Yeah.
That's why we at RBN, we came to the conclusion that one of the most revolutionary acts we can do is help facilitate this anti-Zionist movement by supporting people who are challenging the assholes. But go ahead, Jose.
No, I was
outside of the system. Go ahead, Jose.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I endorse everything you're saying, and for Rome to be coming out and endorsing a congressional race is like revolutionary as in itself. And I think actually, I think getting Rome out here into the projects in the South Bronx is needed. I think that he would have a great time here, because we need people who aren't afraid. For example, like Zoran's campaign, when they're in the Bronx, they're only in the bougie parts of the Bronx, right? Like, I don't know why nobody thought here, oh, let's just go into the projects and talk to the people here. What is wrong with people? Like, I don't know why they're afraid to do that. So I just went and did that, and we're going to just need tons of people who are totally okay with talking to another human being, which is ultimately what it is. And they need to stop being scared. And I think that's one like big criticism I have of the Zoran campaign, is that it appeals to the sort of the like the yassification of politics, right? Like the people who get their little matcha lattes, right, and just want to.
It's being ran by Obama campaign advisors, by the way.
See, that stuff to me is like such huge red flags. It's like, because the other thing is, like, this guy at this point is going to be the mayor, right?
Yeah, he's dominating. He's killing the game.
He's dominating. He's killing the game, And like, my strategy at this point with that is, well, we have to wait and see. I mean, he said he's going to arrest Netanyahu. He's made some promises. Like, at this point, I can only treat him like the mayor or like any other elected official, and I just have to hold him accountable no matter what. Because, at the end of the day, he's not in charge just yet. He will be. And, we will see what he does, but I'm not very confident at all that, we'll get much of it done. But anyway, it's not the roast of Zoran.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's the
I'm a spare today because we got a lot of heat today. What personally, I don't view RBN and what we're doing part of the Zoran movement. You're in New York, so you have a different struggle than I do, particularly because you guys have to strategize and figure out what you're gonna do with Zoran Mondai. To me personally, as a communist in the Midwest, he has nothing to do with me, and he don't want anything to do with us. Like you will never see him come out and endorse Shamba Sawant, for example. You would never see him come out and support RBN Mutual Aid. So I'm not like begging for their attention. That's the position I'm at right now.
Yeah, because I have a lot of people that are around my campaign who also support him, and I understand that, which is like, I'm not saying anybody who supports him can't support me. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap because he tapped into the New Yorkers who are, anti-genocide, right? And there are, just good people who just want to believe in somebody. So, I don't condemn anybody, for supporting him. But that's why, like, instead of me complaining about,
Just
because
keep
as
talking.
somebody,
Just 1 second. I'll be right back. Just keep talking.
no problem. Like, as somebody who's running in, the electoral politics system, yeah. Are there other people who are bad? Yeah, sure. But it's like, I need to give people a reason to vote and believe in what we're doing, to show people like, wait a minute, there is another way forward. You don't have to just rely on the two-party system, and we have to prove that. So, this is why one of the reasons why I kept the campaign office open after the last election was because I was like, okay, we're actually planting seeds here. We're planting roots, we're trying to actually build a movement here. So
Yeah,
anyway,
sorry, I had a tech issue. That's why
no,
I
all
just had
good.
to refresh real quick. I'm gonna continue this. We're gonna get to the roast of Richie Torres. I guess we divide the time evenly because I think it's very important for us to expose this progressive apparatus. I think you got a lot to say on it as well. And these are gonna be the people who they're gonna smear you. They're not gonna support you. They view the insurgent left, the insurgent working class as the enemy. We covered this on our Hassan roast yesterday. Because people like Hassan, they openly admit that they fear that the anti-Zionist movement will be captured in a movement that is outside the Democratic Party. And they say this stuff all the time. They say, what if there's an anti-Zionist movement outside the Democrats? Oh no. They are afraid of that, and they are doing everything they can to prevent that. That's why they are rehabilitating people like Richie Torres. But to emphasize how horrific what he's doing is, and you kind of hit the nail on this earlier, they purposely are avoiding Gaza coverage. Look, in an internal email, PAC-Man later told his staff that the content creators at the White House had talked among themselves, and everyone had admitted that they deliberately avoid producing Gaza coverage to prevent controversy. I'm reading at the middle there. So essentially, they all came to agreement as pro-Biden content creators, like, hey, man, let's not cover Gaza. Let's avoid that content as a whole, which is why David PAC-Man has taken the Zionist position on this. And now they're trying to justify this, like, hey, guys, there's nothing nefarious going on here. We just need an independent left. So here's his response, and I'll get your thoughts.
For years, I've been saying the left needs to organize independent media.
Is it independent if you're being force-fed narrative by corrupt, genocidal neoliberals? Where is the true and only independent media? The people who don't have paymasters that tell them to repeat a narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very proud that, we don't take any big corporate donations or anything like that, because that's why I can come on your show and just say what I want to say.
Yeah.
I know that there are, like, I get unsolicited advice all the time from, like, establishment political consultants who are like, well, maybe you should like tone it down a little bit, or like I had somebody tell me that, well, Jimmy Dore might not be the best platform for you to, you got to go and like appeal to the more moderate people because not all the voters are going to watch independent media. It's like, okay, So what? It's my job to educate people on the ground. There's like, do I go meet the voters where they're at? That's what they tell me. It's like, you know what? I will go do that, and I will go and show them that there is a better alternative. And that is not, you give people like, that's the best thing about this, is that when you go in the street and you talk to people, and you can just expose to them, like, oh yeah, here's what your corporate overlords have fed you today. Like, you just tell them, like, oh, you probably believe this, right? Well, did you know XYZ? And then you can just see they either melt down, they're like, no, that's not true, that's not true, that's not what CNN said. Or it's like, wait, really? I didn't know that. And that is the benefit of, like, why independent media is just so needed. Why your channel and other channels like yours that are not David Pacman, and also these alternate channels like David Pacman and Sam Cedar exist to funnel that demand of, I don't trust the mainstream media, where can I go get alternate media that I can actually trust? And so then there's channels like yours. Oh wait, Majority Report is actually going to be promoted more. It's like, oh, you like AOC, right? Well, she likes Majority Report, so and you trust her, and they hate her, right? So
They
yeah.
have Emma Vigeland on CNN.
Oh
Can you
please.
imagine if they gave me a second on CNN? Like, how you guys
Jesus.
see my interview with Ro Khanna, right? Imagine that, but 1,000 times worse. Like me
Yeah.
grilling. Imagine me grilling Scott Jennings. Like they are comfortable sitting Emma Vigeland next to Scott Jennings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They gave Sam Cedar an MSNBC contract. So people are like, is Sam Cedars on the list? He's not on this list. This was just one particular list that was exposed. But you
Oh yeah.
understand that the Democratic neoliberal apparatus have many different ways to get the payment to people, to send the message to people. So if they want to get people like Sam Cedar on their side to smear people like us, the Jimmy Dore left, people who are outside the Democratic Party, what you do is you offer him an MSNBC contract.
Hmm.
He gets hosts the Chris Hayes shows every once in a while. That's how you
That's right.
get his loyalty. You get Emma Vigeland's loyalty by having her do a few MSNBC and CNN panels. You have Anna Kasparian do a few CNN panels. That's why she come out against homeless people. That's why she come out for funding the police more, because she get that CNN panel slot. You got to see that's how it works. Never in a million years, fam, would they give me that slot. People like Destiny gave me 20 minutes and realized that was the worst mistake of his life. Robbie Suave from the Hill gave me 10 minutes. He debated me over communism, and that's a 10-minute video, and that was the worst mistake of his entire life. And you guys never see me on the Hill ever again. Well, go ahead, Jose, if you
Yeah.
have any other thoughts.
No, it's just that they can't operate outside of established, this side versus that side, right? It's always Republican versus Democrat, liberal versus conservative. This is it.
Right.
This is the only thing that exists. Don't even talk to me about third party challengers. So yeah, I'm with you.
Here's this is the guy who is the most algorithmic boosted
I
liberal
know.
dipshit that you can possibly find on the internet, bro. Like,
They all,
if
but
you
see,
guys
like,
don't
they
know
all
how, well,
coordinated.
Jose.
They all coordinated their response. That was crazy. Like, David
Yeah.
Pacman didn't say anything for a minute. Olivia Juliana didn't say anything for a minute. Other creators didn't say anything. They probably got the email that was like, hey, just don't say anything. We're crafting up a response now. And then, you can all say something like they were probably told not to respond, which is funny because they say in this video, oh no, we didn't tell people when to post or not to post. But that's probably what happened. They're like, just don't respond. We'll respond for
Yeah.
you. And then it's like, when we respond, then you can respond. Like, they were told what to do. They're clearly exposed. And then they had their little minion accounts boost this video and call Taylor Lorenz like a scum or whatever, and like,
Oh,
oh,
bro,
she
they hate her
failed.
guts, bro.
Yeah,
They
I
can't.
know
They are
that
attacking her left and right now. They're trying to end her
that
entire career for
when
this.
they played that video of Candace Owens like saying like, oh, I kind of like Taylor Lorenz. I was like, really.
Nah,
It's like, who your audience is. This is not an independent minded audience. Okay, like, the fact that you could just show Candace Owens saying Taylor Lorenz's name and you think that's effective shows who you are catering your content to. You're not challenging anybody. You're just comfort content.
I'm gonna show you guys the liberal class melting down at Taylor Rand's, who career I do not follow that closely. I know she was like a like New York Times, Washington Post liberal socialite for a long time, but
Yeah.
she have covered a lot of like I've seen a lot of anti-Israel stuff from her. You know what I mean? I'm very confused about her political development right now because there are posts of her like bashing Joe Biden. Like she's like going through some fucking things right now. It's very,
Yeah.
I don't know her well enough to really classify her because obviously she a shit lib, but she doesn't repeat. That's why she's exposing this Democratic dark money. She's in this weird. I don't know her that well. She's in this weird spot where she's like trying to figure out what her audience is going to be. But I'm going to show you, I'm not show you that much, but I'm going to show you the line that they are using. That's complete bullshit.
At the risk of giving an internet troll more attention, I want to address.
Look, they called her an internet troll.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bro, they were so mad.
Yeah, and they should be because they're fucking idiots. But go on.
Anyway, let's.
Yeah.
They're so mad.
At the risk of giving an internet troll more attention, I want to address a piece that Taylor Lorenz wrote yesterday for Wired. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. Literally nothing in this statement is true. The article is about Chorus, which is a nonprofit that I helped found to build up a creator ecosystem, which everybody says they want, but few are doing. So here's what Chorus is. It is a scholarship program to teach creators how to grow their accounts, foster engagement, launch their own show.
Bullshit. So, you know how you know this is bullshit? Because it was exposed that David fucking PAC-Man is part of this program. Do you think David PAC-Man, with his, 2 million subscribers, do you think he needs help on building an audience?
Yeah, sure. Right. It's like, oh, I'm just a struggling creator with 2 million followers. Please, help me out here. Come on. Yeah. And he has sponsors too. Somebody was posting like the list of sponsors that he has, like the ad reads that they do. He has like 30 sponsors. He's doing okay for, he's not a small independent creator.
Olivia Juliana, she has 320,000 followers on X. She won a neoliberal body account. She has a big. I'm sure she has a big Instagram. Like she has a big Democrat. So, 30 seconds in, we already caught a lie. I don't want to spend too much time on this just for a second time, but you guys see how we already caught him in a bullshit lie. He's like, oh, this is a program. We help small content creators. I thought you guys wanted that. I thought you guys wanted us to help boost up small lefty accounts. That is not what you're doing. You guys are paying and creating a jobs program for neoliberal sellouts where they can bash people on the left. You're not paying people just to spread their opinions. Do you guys think it's a coincidence that every single person on that list, and I promise you, if you search every single person on that list and Jill Stein, every single one of them came out with a video condemning her. Do you guys think that's a coincidence? So you guys think he already full of shit. And when you see all these videos that they're coming out with, they never outright denied that there was a paid quid pro quo. Do you guys, do you hear any denial in this video? This is what everyone's bringing up. And we don't have a lot of time to go through everyone, but every single video response like this, they never say, I was not paid to create content by the Democratic Party. That's a statement you would never hear any of these people say. Harry Sitton, a sucker, apparently, because you have people like Olivia, who, can you really blame her for getting the bag? At the end of the day, meanwhile, Harry Sitton is doing this shit for free. So here's a tweet. Here's a tweet where Harry Sitton admits he's a sucker. I'm part of Torres. I do propaganda for free. That's essentially what he's saying.
You should apply, because at the end he says, hey, if anyone else wants to apply who's an independent left creator, well, you should do it. See if you can get some money from him.
Like, bro, you leaving money on the table, bro. I know you probably got a different contract. You probably like, man, that's chump change compared to the shit I'm on. He like, that shit chump change. But he probably not even worried about that small ass shit. But he like, I never seen anything from them. But the outrage is
bent
total
over for the Democratic Party. There's no way he cares about Cora's money. He's getting like upper echelon money to bend over the way he does.
Yeah, Chorus is intro level shit. He's like, bro, that's amateur money, bro. He's on that. He's on the next level. There are some really good people in that program who want to build a strong, sustainable community of left-wing creators. They use that term left-wing very loosely. Very, aren't they? I explained before, I use the French Revolution term. Left mean you want revolutionary change. You're on the right if you uphold social norms and establishment systems. That's what it means to be conservative. And what do the Democrats want? They want to uphold the CIA. They want to keep the police state intact. They want to build on a military-industrial complex. They literally talk about upholding norms in the Democratic Party platform. So when I tell you guys that the Democratic Party is a right-wing party, I am using the scientific definition of what that means. But America is so fucking dumb, they don't even know that.